When you choose to let go, something remarkable stirs, not out in the world, but deep inside, within the unseen layers of your being. You begin to remember who you truly are, the self that existed before you clung to people, outcomes, expectations, and roles. This is the self buried under years of striving, control, fear, and craving. You see, letting go isn't about loss, even if the ego screams otherwise. Letting go is a return to what is essential, what is true, what has always been waiting beneath the noise. In its ordinary state, the human being is tangled in attachments. These attachments often pose as love, ambition, or responsibility. But more often, they are rooted in fear, the fear of being alone, of not being enough, of facing the unknown. We cling to things not because they fulfill us, but because we are terrified of the silence that might follow their absence. Yet, here's the paradox. Only in that silence, in the emptiness left behind when we release, can we hear the quiet voice of the soul. We're taught that strength means holding on, that perseverance means gripping, even as our hands bleed. But real strength, the rarest kind, lies in loosening that grip, in saying, "This no longer aligns with who I am becoming. This no longer nourishes my growth. This no longer reflects the truth awakening inside me." Letting go demands trust, and trust is something modern life has almost made us forget. Trust in the self, trust in life, trust in the quiet intelligence woven through existence. When you let go, you are not giving up. You're giving over. You're allowing something greater, something whole, to guide your path. There's an illusion that must die for the self to be reborn, the illusion of control, the belief that your will alone can bend the universe to its knees. This illusion is seductive, but it's also a cage, one that traps you in cycles of anxiety, exhaustion, and endless striving. The moment you let go, the doors of that cage swing open, not because you forced them, but because you stopped resisting reality. What is truly yours cannot be taken. What is real will never need force to stay. If you constantly struggle, plead, or shrink to keep something, a person, a dream, a version of yourself, it's a sign it's no longer aligned with your truth. The soul doesn't cling, it draws in, it magnetizes through resonance, and resonance only happens when you live from your center, not from the scattered fragments of fear. Letting go returns you to the center. It lets you hear your own heartbeat. Again, rediscover what brings you peace, what nourishes you, what calls you toward wholeness. From this place, life organizes itself differently. You stop chasing, you're drawn, you stop clinging, you allow, you stop fearing loss, you trust. That what leaves was never meant to stay. You are no longer defined by what you hold on to, but by what you have the courage to release. To let go is to surrender to the rhythm of becoming. It's not passive. It's not resignation. It's the bold act of choosing presence over attachment, alignment over illusion, truth over comfort. It's the quiet revolution of returning home, to yourself, to your soul, to the silent wisdom that speaks not in noise, but in clarity. And in this return, the universe responds, not with chaos, but with alignment, not with punishment, but with peace. When you choose to let go, it's not just a mental decision, it's a signal that ripples down into the deep chambers of your being. It sparks a shift, a tremor that echoes through the psyche. You may not see immediate results. You may not even feel different on the surface, but something ancient has been awakened. Letting go is no shallow act. It's the spark of inner revolution, and every revolution begins with the refusal to live the same old pattern. Most people live governed by what they can see, touch, and control, believing their choices exist only on the surface. But this misses the deeper truth. Beneath every conscious act is a web of unconscious motives, wounds, beliefs, and fears. These hidden forces shape the very architecture of your life. So when you truly let go, you're not just releasing the outer, You're rewiring the deepest layers of your inner world. Consider the patterns that repeat in your life. The same kinds of relationships, the same emotional triggers, the same painful endings in new disguises. You've tried to think your way out, but the pattern returns. Why? Because the energy that sustains it has never been interrupted. It's not logic that feeds it. It's unconscious loyalty to a version of you that learned survival through pain. Letting go shakes that loyalty to its core. When you release an attachment and declare, "I no longer accept this story," the unconscious reorganizes itself. Old complexes loosen, emotional bonds woven from fear begin to unravel, and the inner scaffolding built from years of hurt starts to shift. At first, this can feel disorienting. You may feel lost. You may wonder why everything feels unfamiliar. That's because your ego is no longer controlling the narrative. The unconscious has been stirred and is now reshaping you with the force of transformation. This isn't passivity. This isn't sitting back waiting for life to fix itself. This is the sacred act of no longer blocking the changes life is trying to bring you. As you release your grip, you begin to sense a greater presence, a force that knows exactly what to clear, what to realign, what to place on your path. This is why letting go often sparks a season of loss. It's not punishment. It's not a test. It's a clearing, a pruning, an emptying of what no longer resonates with who you are becoming. That which was built on fear can't survive clarity. That which was sustained by need can't endure the light of self-worth. The unconscious responds to truth like the body responds to breath. It knows how to move again when you stop forcing it to remain still. As it stirs, you begin to see the world differently. Your thoughts are no longer fogged by the past, your choices no longer dictated by pain, your heart no longer crushed by expectation. You're not becoming someone new. You are remembering. Someone ancient, someone whole. When things start falling away, it's tempting to grasp at what was. But resist that urge. That's the sacred moment when everything begins to rise. Your newly awakened unconscious begins its dance with the mystery of life. It speaks in signs, symbols, synchronicities. Pay attention. What seems like chaos is often precision. What feels like loss is often alignment. What looks like an ending is often the first step on your true path. So, trust the process. Not because you understand it, but because it feels like truth. Trust that something in you is wiser than your fear. Letting go is not destruction. It's the profound reconstruction of a life that finally mirrors your soul. When you truly let go, not just in mind, but deep in your soul, you start noticing subtle yet profound shifts. Things fall away, people drift, situations dissolve. You may wonder why, but it's not loss. It's alignment. What's leaving no longer matches your new frequency. Life, like the psyche, seeks balance. And when you change within, the outer world must adjust. Everything you cling to, every person, every identity, every pattern, carries an emotional frequency. Fear vibrates, so does shame, longing, and wholeness. When you act from attachment, you attract what matches that energy. If you fear abandonment, you draw in relationships that mirror that fear. If you feel unworthy, you attract experiences that confirm it. This isn't punishment, it's reflection. Letting go disrupts this reflection. It signals to life that you are no longer choosing from the same place. And in response, life removes what no longer fits. Conversations that once gripped you fall flat. Places that once felt like home now feel heavy. People who thrived on your confusion no longer recognize you. It's not rejection, it's resonance adjusting. There is a stillness that follows, a silence that can feel like emptiness, like being alone in the unknown. But this silence is sacred. It's the space between the old you and the you that now trusts. Don't rush to fill it. Let it echo. This is how life reshapes itself, not through noise, but through subtraction. And in that emptiness, something new stirs, not outside, but within. Slowly, gently, life begins to match your new vibration. People arrive who see your truth, not your mask. Opportunities appear that call on your creativity, not your survival instincts. But this only happens once the old frequency is cleared, once life is free to mirror your healing. Understand, this isn't magic. This is nature. Energy shapes the psyche like attracts like. When your inner world lightens and clears, your outer world responds not instantly but inevitably. Life, like water, finds its level. It will meet the version of you you are ready to embody. That's why it's so crucial not to panic when things fall apart. That unraveling is the most sacred threshold of all. It's where the old world collapses and the new world hasn't yet emerged. If you run back to what's familiar, you re-enter the very cycle you were breaking free from. But if you stay, if you trust, you will see life hasn't abandoned you. It's clearing the space, so the next chapter is written in your real voice, not your fears. This isn't theory. It's the lived experience of those who have dared to release control. They'll tell you, letting go isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the start of resonance, of harmony, of a life no longer built on suffering. The pain may still whisper, but it no longer commands the path. So when the universe responds, let it. When people leave, bless them. When old structures crumble, trust they were never meant to hold the person you are becoming. And when the Aishi silence grows loud, remember, that's the sound of your soul finally being heard. When you let go, when you truly loosen your grip on what no longer serves you, something astonishing begins to unfold. Life opens doors that were always there, but now, without the fog of attachment, you can finally see them. This is the nature of transformation. It starts not with gain, but with loss, not with more, but with emptiness. And it's in that empty space, the space you feared for so long, that the new begins to rise. There's a reason we fear letting go. It's not just the pain of goodbye or the uncertainty of what comes next. It's the quiet, trembling encounter with the unknown. The self that exists without the story. You've been speaking the words, but without realizing the role you've been playing. We don't just cling to people or situations, we cling to identities. We hold tight to the version of ourselves we think we must be, to feel safe, loved, and worthy. But here's the truth. The moment you dare to release those beliefs, life doesn't respond with loss. It responds with offering. And that offering often comes from the void. That space that once felt like failure or punishment becomes the fertile ground where new life can grow. Most people rush to fill the emptiness. They grab the nearest distraction, the next comfort, the old pattern dressed in new language. But nothing real can grow in soil that hasn't been cleared. Nothing lasting emerges from a life built on avoidance. It's the void, the sacred, unsettling, fertile void that allows something entirely new to be born. This is the part no one talks about. People celebrate the outcome, the new relationship, the renewed purpose, the unexpected breakthrough. But they overlook the stillness that came before it. The miracle doesn't begin with the outcome. It begins in the quiet. The universe can't bring you what's meant for your future until you're willing to let go of what belongs to your past. That in-between space, it's not punishment, it's preparation. It's the reshaping of your inner world. So you can finally receive what couldn't reach you before. The self you are becoming cannot rise in a life built around the self you are no longer willing to be. So, things fall apart, or rather, they fall into truth. What's misaligned begins to dissolve. What was held together by fear loses its grip. And though it feels like loss, it's actually the clearing of a path that's been there all along, hidden beneath the rubble of old attachments. When you stop resisting, you see life isn't taking from you, it's making space. It's not shutting doors, it's opening the ones that were always meant for you. And it's not the size of the opportunity that matters, it's the resonance. A single moment of clarity can change the course of an entire life. What's meant for you won't require you to shrink, to force, or to keep proving your worth. It will speak straight to your soul. You'll recognize it, not by how it looks, but by how it feels. It will feel like truth. It will feel like home, but it can't arrive until you make room for it. That's why letting go is one of the bravest things you can do. It invites the unknown. It says to life, I trust the process more than I trust my fear. And life responds, not in the way you control, but in ways you could never have imagined. You meet people you never would have met. You uncover strengths that were buried under old roles. You awaken parts of yourself that only rise when you stop, pretending to be someone you're not. This is how the new comes, not through striving, but through surrender. Not through control, but through allowing. The path ahead may not be fully visible, but each step you take in trust reveals the next. Eventually, you realize the void you feared wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of the life. You were always meant to live. When you let go, truly let go, something ancient awakens inside you. A quiet, steady strength rises, not from effort, but from presence. This is the paradox. You become stronger not by clinging harder, but by releasing resistance. We suffer most when we refuse to face what is. We resist pain, so it deepens. We run from discomfort, so it chases us. We grip identities we've outgrown because they once made us feel safe. But safety isn't peace. It's often just the absence of threat. And your soul was never meant to merely survive unthreatened. It was meant to live fully, honestly, and freely. Letting go is when the shell cracks, and that's not weakness, that's strength. The kind of strength that doesn't shout or seek applause, but quietly stands in truth. Your peace matters more than your past. Your integrity matters more than your comfort. Your growth matters more than the illusion of permanence. There's no real strength in clinging to what diminishes you, but there is immense power in choosing yourself, even if it means being misunderstood, even if it means walking alone for a while. This strength is not about ego. It's not about proving anything. It's the quiet knowing that says, I can be with myself fully without needing to escape. It's the freedom that comes when you no longer need to perform or fit where you no longer belong. When you stop chasing peace and start becoming it, everything changes. So much energy is wasted holding on to what's already gone, fixing what's not yours to fix, forcing what's only meant to pass through. But when you stop forcing, when you stop begging life to look a certain way, you reclaim that energy, and that lightness you feel, it's not emptiness, it's clarity, it's spaciousness, it's the freedom that allows something new to rise, not because you made it happen, but because you finally made space for it. In that space, you find yourself again, your breath, your presence, your essence, waiting patiently beneath all the noise. You were never broken, only buried. Letting go doesn't fix you, it reveals you. From this place, your strength is no longer tied to outcomes. You stop measuring your worth by what stays or leaves. You begin to trust that even when things fall apart, even when people walk away, even when plans collapse, you are still here, still whole, still rooted in something deeper. That's where true power lives. You're not here to fight endlessly for your right to exist. You're here to evolve, to shed, to remember, to become. Letting go is not giving up. It's refusing to abandon yourself just to keep something else alive. And when you make that choice, you don't break. You rise. When you truly let go, life begins to move, not on your timeline, but in its own quiet wisdom. You'll notice synchronicities. The right people will appear. Answers will find you. Circumstances will shift, not because you forced them, but because you became ready. Readiness isn't about having it all figured out. It's about releasing the illusion of control. That surrender opens a flow that's always been trying to reach you. Life is not against you. It's simply been responding to the version of you that you've insisted on being. And when you let that version dissolve, when you allow grief, pain, and emptiness to pass through, you make space for something greater than survival. You begin to live from your potential, not your past. And that potential speaks a new language, one of clarity, trust, and quiet courage. The people you meet now won't test you. They'll meet you where you've risen. The opportunities won't come to rescue you. They'll mirror what you've already rescued within yourself. What you once called fate was often just a pattern you hadn't outgrown. But when you let go, when you stop reaching back, you align with a deeper rhythm, one not born of scarcity, but of trust. Alignment moves with grace, with quiet conviction. Even waiting feels different, not restless, but receptive. You trust that what's meant for you will never miss you. This shift isn't a single moment. It's an unfolding. Fear and doubt may still appear, but you'll no longer follow them. You'll thank them and keep walking. This is the beginning of true inner authority, not over others, but over your own heart. And when you lead from this place, life will meet. You don't need to chase the life you want. You need to become the person who naturally lives it. So release the timelines. Let go of the false identities. Break the unspoken agreements that keep you small. Trust that the intelligence of life is greater than the logic of your plans. Let it shift. Let it rearrange. Let what wants to leave, leave. You will not be left behind. You will be carried, not by fantasy, but by the deep truth of who you are. And that truth, it's been waiting for you all along. If this message speaks to something in you, if you're ready to stop holding on to what no longer serves you, let this be your sign. Start small. Release one thought, one fear, one expectation. Let that be the beginning. And if you're ready to walk this path, to step into the life that's been waiting for you, share this message with someone who needs it. Subscribe, join the journey, and remember, your next chapter doesn't begin when life changes. It begins when you do let go and watch how life answers. Are you ready to surrender?